As rightly quoted by Rita Brown, that language is the roadmap of a culture. It tells you where the people come from and where they are going. Our language is a reflection of our character. And similarly, the language of our nation, that is the national language, is a reflection of our national character, and it also speaks volumes about the growth of its speakers. I believe that we need to have a national language that acts as a binding agent for the people who are spread across from Jammu Kashmir in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, from Gujarat in the west to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. It is this national language that will bring the people of the nation together. Moreover, having a national language also gives us benefits by improving the employability opportunity throughout the nation and also by increasing the access of quality healthcare for the people. Also, when we speak about national language in the era of globalization, it is absolutely necessary.
Your time up, Janice.
I strongly believe that India should not have a national language, and my first argument to support the same would be discrimination. Having a national language would be discriminatory against the non-speakers of a particular language, knowingly or unknowingly. Secondly, I understand that the need for national language is a popular debate, but we cannot force the learning of a language into the minds of the people, especially coming from a diverse background like India. Thirdly, the politicization of this issue has led to the massive divide between the North and the South, wherein the linguistic diversity is extreme in both the ends. Majorly, the fundamental idea of our country is unity in diversity. That is, despite the differences, we have decided to coexist. We are not a homogeneous entity. Therefore, we do not need a common language. Unlike the European countries, India does not need a national language because India differs in her language after every 50 kilometers. So actually identifying a national language is, I would say, a pointless or a needless, or more basically, I would say it's a very difficult exercise.
A national language drives national unity despite the presence of multiple languages and dialects throughout the country.
I understand your point, but having a national language could lead to the opposite effect because India is actually a country which is having around 22 officially recognized national languages, 22 officially recognized languages, and having one language could lead to the exclusion or discrimination against the non-speakers of a particular language, knowingly or unknowingly. Moreover, I would like to say that India has got a majority of people who are bilingual, multilingual, so we actually need to ensure this unity by making sure that we respect this differences in the languages.
Clear. Thank you.
When we try to recognize languages as markers of identity, particularly in n number of languages that we have in India, we are just introducing barriers to unity and acceptability. And as mentioned, if we have bilingual people in our country, then it's obvious that people can also try to learn a new language so that it can become a national language in our country.
Out to you.
I understand that, but I would like to respectfully refute it because having a national language, I would say that we have tremendous option like, translation services, language. Since you pointed about the promotion of learning language, we already have several activities like the translation services, promoting bilingualism, language education programs, etc.
I would like to quote the importance of the newspaper. The newspaper is a take on the global affairs and the current affairs that is happening around us, and it has multifarious functions of society. So when it comes to newspaper, if we have a national language, we are also ensuring that we are having equal dissemination of information to each section of the society along with removing the constraints of language translation.
But the thing is that India is actually an extremely diverse country, and just I hope you were meaning to say that if we have newspapers in one particular language, that would be helpful. But that is not exactly possible in our country, and it is unlikely that, especially if we have a national language, it is unlikely that everybody speaks in that particular language because we are part of a democracy, and everybody has got their own right to learn something and not to learn something.
While speaking of democracy, when we have so many people, we need people to understand each other. Only when they understand each other, that's when we call it real democracy. Only then they can form a consensus and a particular opinion that will be beneficial for all. So we need a national language.
See, I think that is where education comes into play. I would say that to foster education and to point out the fact that there are several schemes or programs that we have undertook. Like say Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, we have Rashtra Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, we have 3 language formula, and what more to speak of, we also have this national education policy under process which accepts this diversity in language.
Even while talking about schooling, if we have a national language in place, we'll ensure that each and every student gets education irrespective of their linguistic backgrounds, especially students traveling from one state to another for education.
Again, that is where I said that we do not necessarily need one language. That is when I said that we have programs like the 3-language formula fostering the learning of different languages.
I would like to give an example of a country called Switzerland. According to the 2022 Human Development Index, it ranks first. An important point of interest is this particular country has 4 national languages. So it's not necessary that we need to have just a single language. With so many language families in India, we can actually come forward with 3 to 4 national languages in India and thereby promote a national unity.
Clear.
See, it's not about the number of languages that we are speaking about. It's about the need of a national language. And I strongly believe that we do not need a national language. Since you pointed out a report, I would like to say that as per the UNESCO report of 2018, students are more likely to complete their primary education, especially if they're taught in their mother tongue.
The primary purpose of a language is effective communication, and effective communication only fosters development. And this is in alliance with the thoughts of Aristotle, who says that with language, like according to me, with language we have adherence of minds.
I wouldn't say that the only purpose is just communication. See, language is actually an innate part of culture. Language, as you stated before, language is like a roadmap of culture. It tells us where we are from and where we are heading to. So language actually, just like how religion is very close to people, language is also very innate, and we cannot necessarily afford to hurt the linguistic sentiments of the people.
Over to you, please.
I would like to give an example of a particular situation back in 1952 when Sir Sri Ramulla, he came forward for an act of fast unto death so that they can organize a state called as Andhra Pradesh for Telugu speaking people only. Now, what are we looking at here? Shouldn't we move forward from the sentiments of a region to the national emotion?
Janice, are you advocating multiple national languages? Is that practical in India?
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for the question. First of all, while speaking about the language families that we have in India, yes, definitely we can have multiple national languages. That is, we have Dravidian languages, Indo-Aryan languages, Iranian languages. These are all a part of these are all different families of languages in India. So definitely from a region, we can try to bring forward one language for the people to communicate with themselves. There will be some resemblance between each of these languages. Also, keeping in mind when we also speak about Hindi not being related to the South Indian languages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janice.
Hi, Afina.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. Initially, you said that if we bring one national language in, it will result in some kind of discrimination. Okay. There are so many languages in India. So do you mean that all these languages should have equal status? I mean, not only the official languages, the non-official languages also.
So in order to answer that question, I would like to say that as per the Official Languages Act of 1963, we have 2 languages, that is English and Hindi as the language of the Union, and then we have 22 other officially recognized languages which are meant for the state, that is their respective languages for the state. And in order to substantiate, I would like to quote a case, that is S.K. Verma versus Union of India. It was held that we do not necessarily need any language because the Constitution does not mandate the requirement of any language.
Thank you so much, girls. Kindly come forward, both of you. ഒരു നല്ല ഗൈഡ് രണ്ടുപേർക്കും ചേർന്ന് കൊടുക്കാം. Congratulations, and you may please leave now.